This is the fastest budget smartphone for year 2021, priced at $230. It is cheaper than the Samsung Galaxy A52, the Redmi Note 10 Pro, the Tecno 17 Pro, and it smokes those smartphones without breaking a sweat when it comes to performance, but it does have a flaw. The Poco X3 Pro comes with the usual suspects, the 33-watt fast charger that charges this device from 0 to 100% in 70 minutes. It comes with a USB Type-C cable, Poco stickers, a TPU case, warranty, and user guide manuals. Now for the build quality, the Poco X3 Pro has a plastic rear, the frame is made out of plastic, and the display is protected with Corning Gorilla Glass 6. This smartphone is one durable smartphone. It can be dropped from 6 feet and nothing will happen to it. As for the display, it offers improved drop and scratch resistance, but you still need to get a plastic screen protector if you live life on the edge like I do. The Poco X3 Pro is an IP53 dust and splash resistant smartphone. I have dumped it inside water and everything works fine, so in my books it is water resistant. For the weight, it isn't a light device. It weighs in at 215 grams, and over time, if you use this smartphone for long hours, you will definitely feel the heft. Now if you're enjoying this review and you like what you've seen so far, do not hit the subscribe button. Now for the external features, the Poco X3 Pro comes with a 3.5mm audio jack, USB Type-C port, a mic, and dual stereo speakers. This is one of the speakers. The second speaker is located at the top, and it also has a sound outlet here, so you have sound hitting you from the left, the right, and from the front. Another thing worth mentioning is the rear vibrates when you turn up the volume and you can feel the vibration. Some people like it, some people don't. I think it's a brilliant idea because it makes what you're watching come alive. Now moving to the right side, it comes with a dual nano SIM card tray and a memory card slot. At the top is where you find the IR blaster, the secondary microphone, and of course the second speaker. On the right side is where the volume keys and the power button are located. The power button doubles as the fingerprint scanner. It is fast, instant, and it works 99% of the time. Now moving to the rear, you can't escape that big Poco sign and the camera bump. Now speaking about the Achilles heel of the Poco X3 Pro, and that's the display. It's a 6.6-inch IPS LCD panel with a resolution of 1080 by 2400 pixels. The display has a 120Hz refresh rate and a 240 touch sampling rate. Now because it's hard to show and explain how the 120Hz refresh rate looks like, here's a video showing you just how smooth it is, and yes, it's definitely a big deal on this device. As for the 240Hz touch sampling rate, well, it's a fancy way of saying the display is very responsive to touch, and this will be very good for gamers. The display has a bit of bezel, especially at the bottom, but honestly, it's not going to bother you one bit. The camera punch hole is also not that big, unlike some other smartphones, and coupled with the dual stereo speakers and the size of the display, consuming media on this device is enjoyable. It isn't until you put the Poco X3 Pro next to a device that has an AMOLED panel that you'll begin to notice just how uninspiring the display is. Now for an IPS LCD panel, the display on the Poco X3 Pro is one of the best out there, and coupled with the 120Hz refresh rate, I think I can live with it. Performance is where the Poco X3 Pro reigns supreme in the budget category. It is powered by the Snapdragon 860 processor. It's a 7nm chipset that offers flagship level performance. The Snapdragon 860 processor is the leading 4G flagship processor in the year 2021, and looking at the Antutu benchmark score and the Geek score, you can see that this device is no joke. Nothing comes close. The processor isn't the only component inside the smartphone that makes it super fast. It has UFS 3.1 storage that offers snappy read and write speed. This makes launching apps super fast on this smartphone. My version of the Poco X3 Pro comes with 6GB of RAM and 128GB of internal storage. Multitasking on this device is fluid and fast. Now moving to gaming, another area where the Poco X3 Pro shines. No other smartphone plays games better than the Poco X3 Pro in the budget category. It runs PUBG at the highest graphics settings while other smartphones are still in the dust. Genshin Impact, which is one of the most demanding games to play on a smartphone, the Poco X3 Pro runs that game at the highest graphics settings and at 60 frames per second. The thing about the Poco X3 Pro is it doesn't just to run these games at the highest graphics settings. The gameplay is butter smooth, especially for PUBG. It's like I have superpowers when I use this smartphone. Granted, this phone does get a bit warm when you play games for a long duration, even with the liquid cool technology that provides up to 6% cooling, but show me a smartphone that doesn't get warm when you crank up the graphics settings to the highest level. Does the Poco X3 Pro throttle when it gets hot? Well, no. I played PUBG for more than an hour and I didn't notice any frame drop. Now for the operating system, the Poco X3 Pro is running on Android 11 with MIUI version 12.0.5. Scrolling on this device is really fast thanks to the 120Hz refresh rate and the powerful flagship processor. It's really a joy to use. Now the Poco X3 Pro has some special features like the game mode that allows you to increase the touch response and enhance the visuals. It has a video toolbox that gives you a shortcut to record, take a screenshot and cast the display of your smartphone to a compatible display, among other things. It also has second space, which allows you to have a different profile on one smartphone. For the front-facing camera, the Poco X3 Pro comes with a 20 megapixel f2.2 camera, and yeah, pictures captured with it. Pictures look decent for a $200 smartphone, and that's me trying out how YouTubers make their thumbnail. Photo shots look decent on this smartphone. Overall, I think I'm okay with the front-facing camera of this smartphone. Hello guys, so here's a video from the front-facing camera of the Poco X3 NFC. It can shoot in 1080p, 30 frames per second, no 4K here. That's the highest resolution on the Poco X3 NFC. So what do you guys think about the video quality and the audio quality coming out from the Poco X3 NFC? It does look good, doesn't it? Now moving to the rear camera, the Poco X3 Pro comes with a 48 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, 2 megapixel macro and 2 megapixel depth camera. Here are some pictures captured using the camera of the Poco X3 Pro. Now this video was shot using the rear camera of the Poco X3 NFC, so if you want to buy this phone for video creation, vlogging, you can definitely do that. Yeah, autofocus is fast. So what do you guys think about the video quality coming out from the Poco X3 NFC? It's shooting in 4K, 30 frames per second. Now it's time for me to do the YouTuber thumbnail face. Now for the battery, the Poco X3 Pro comes with a 5120 mAh battery, and even with the 120Hz refresh rate and the powerful processor, it still lasted throughout the entire day. Now for the charging time, with the 33 watts fast charger, it took the Poco X3 Pro 70 minutes to charge from 0 to 100%, and that's not bad. Now in conclusion, the Poco X3 Pro is the only smartphone that deserves the Pro label. With the Snapdragon 860 chipset, the amount of power it delivers is breathtaking. The price is very affordable. The display, well, you know what, when you use this smartphone, you're going to forget all about that and be marveled by how fast and fluid this smartphone is. I mean, I have the Redmi Note 10 Pro, the Samsung Galaxy A52, the Samsung Galaxy A52, and you know what, the smartphone I'll pick up when it's time to play game or edit videos on my smartphone is the Poco X3 Pro. No other smartphone in the market gives you flagship level performance at $230. So guys, this is my review of the Poco X3 Pro. Please do not subscribe to my channel. Valor signing out.